What's my Zoom window up here? And we should be live. Yes, I believe we are live.
Cool.
Welcome everybody to webinar number 42. 41? 42. Should be 42.
40 something.
Yeah, I have to edit that out. Should be 42. 42 was last month. 41 was last week. So I have the date wrong on the webinar number. So it's okay. And good evening from the Kingdom of Denmark. Oh, welcome.
Really? You have to go with kingdom? We have our own kingdom here.
So, all right.
Kingdom
How's
of
everything?
Marklin.
We welcome you, Peter. Glad you could join us. And Joe is on Joe is on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
The live feed on YouTube. Welcome. All right. So, what do we got?
I don't know. We spent all this time before the webinar and we have no idea what to do.
Yeah, it's all gray. We have no answers for you. Let's see. Let's talk about updates. You had update information.
Yeah, there was a minor update. The version didn't change in the mobile or in the central station 3, but it did for the mobile station and the wireless mobile station. And there was one minor one for the CS2 also.
Yeah, tell us about that.
I don't know anything about it. I just update it and get the version number for the newsletter. So back to you, Curtis. No? What did you walk away? All right. While we wait for Curtis to come back, are there any questions from anyone? Comments? Funny stories?
Yeah, sorry, I realized I had not connected the CS3, so let me rig that up while you
Oh, all right.
Answer any questions.
There aren't any questions, so.
No comments? Any
No, I asked for comments or funny stories.
well, nobody's got a funny story for you.
Just crickets.
Just crickets. Any upcoming
Oh,
shows?
Here we go.
Yeah, don't force yourselves to ask us a question.
Well, Maya Felder from Israel. After installing software version 2.526, I did not hear the announcement. I don't know which announcement you're referring to.
252, I do not hear the announcement. What would be the problem? Oh, which announcement are we referring to?
Yeah. No, I think Paul has a question also. He emailed us, and you can try and force an update where you hold down the left control knob, like you're reversing, but hold it down and then push the stop bar until the screen goes black, and then let them go, and that will force an update. It could be something like you don't have a proper connection to the internet. I don't know for sure.
68912 Sorry, I'm just logging in and getting the CS3 set up.
Yeah, it's all good. I haven't even logged into mine, but I don't know that I need to for my article. Oh, one thing to note. Let me share my screen here. And I'm sure all of you will remember last month's newsletter. about the Rio Grande. And you'll notice that there's possibly a little bit of an error up here where it says volume 37, number 3. It should be volume 37, number 4. And also it says May, June, where it should say, let's see, what are we in October? We're in September, October. So what's the 2 months
We're
before
October, September now.
July, August?
Yeah.
So it should say July, August here also. If anybody wants the corrected version of this, because you print them out or whatnot, let me know, let us know, email us, and we'll email you the corrected one. Now let me stop sharing here.
Yeah, we should probably get that in our archive so we have the corrected one.
Yeah. I thought I corrected it, but in mine, but I have a PDF, so I didn't correct it. And we're gonna redo the PDF, but we're not resending it to everybody. We don't want to confuse anyone. What happened was I had my article written. Well, this was 2 months ago, and it's actually the article that I just put out. I had that all written, and then I received this Rio Grande and noticed the lighting configuration, so I quickly rewrote the article, but I didn't change the header there. So that would be I blame Curtis for all of this. So that means that I'm not wrong.
Yeah, you can blame me for anything you want.
That's just well, that's just the reason behind it. How's that? And
Yeah.
it's Curtis's fault.
I distracted him.
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay. So we're all set. We do have, let me see. So let's, my CS3 isn't showing an update yet, so I may have
Like
already.
it says the announcements from the library of the CS3. You may, I'm assuming, I mean, we don't have announcements from our CS3. I'm assuming you have it on a compact flash in the back of the CS3. At least you should so you're not using memory of the CS3. You might have to reestablish that, redo that link and then see if it works. We haven't tried it, obviously. Because we don't know, I don't have a layout to have a permanent announcement like that in, so. And plus we don't check all the ins and outs of the CS3 once there's an update. We just kind of go by what people say. So if you could redo that announcement and then see if it works. And if not, we can probably investigate it further if you want to email us your conclusions on that.
All right. And I'll say there was a comment that the MS2, the icons from the mobile stations are showing as they are updated with the green dot, but the software versions are actually incorrect as either reported. I'm wondering if the display screen on the CS3 might show them as incorrect, but the mobile station might show them as new updated versions. Have you looked at that?
All I did was update them and get the current version number.
Via
So
the mobile station or the central station? I don't know if I'm.
So the central station here, because I keep one up to date whenever there's an update, and it is 2.52 parentheses 6.
Okay, so mine's not registering update. Let me share my screen here. This one here. Let's see what it says. System. Whoops. Go away.
Information.
Device and software.
Yep.
So this is the CS3, right?
Yeah.
But it's not going to register. It won't register the mobile station.
Not unless you have them plugged in.
You have to have them plugged in. And then which case you may actually have the version number would be displayed on both them. It wouldn't display it on the central station, does it?
No, it wouldn't.
So
well, it'll tell you on the central station, do you want it to update to this?
Yeah. So I'd have to actually have one in there.
I could, if you want to wait a second, I can go plug one in to verify it.
We can do it as we progress through the webinar.
How about I'll do that when you're talking about your new article?
Yeah, sure, that works. Now, the other thing is too, we might have to, I wonder if we'd have to be concerned with which mobile stations we're dealing with, because I have the early gray ones. I don't have the later black one. So there
Yeah, I
might
don't
be
know that
hardware versions in that might, it's like the difference between a CS2 and a CS3. You might have a hardware issue that doesn't
right. I
necessarily
don't know
update.
that that matters, but I don't know that it doesn't.
Yeah, just in case. This is something that we should
Right.
kind of keep in the back of our pocket in case. And then we do have one question regarding he wants to put two boosters in the layout. He wonders what will happen when the shoe from a locomotive passes from one block to the second. Will there be a short circuit?
No, there won't. The
Well, normally there
CS3s,
isn't, but they do have to be properly insulated. If they weren't properly
yes.
insulated, then you might actually have. What happens when that? I don't remember what happens when we did that. It didn't short out the layout, did it?
It's been so long I don't remember either, but I know that the instructions for the booster do specifically say just need to insulate, I believe, only the center rail.
Yeah, just the center rail is all that was
And
really.
it's such a momentary contact. I think there's some kind of programming or some kind of a buffer in there that the CS3 will be fine.
Yeah,
Because
so
I know
normally
the
we wouldn't. You
boosters
wouldn't see
work
a short. It
seamlessly now.
just. Yeah, the main thing, it has to be properly insulated, which is the center rails need to be insulated.
Yeah.
So
I don't think the outer rail needs to be insulated anymore. I think it used to in an earlier version of the boosters.
yeah.
And
Okay.
for a long time, the programming track needed both rails insulated.
The programming track, yes, that was a different instance because
Yeah.
I don't know if it had to do something with, because the voltage output on the programming track was different.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. Um, then, so I just want to make a correction for our YouTube viewer, Joe, is how he pronounces his name. Thanks, Joe. Sorry about that. So, all right. What else do we got? Anything new? Are we kicking into the articles?
Yeah. Yeah. We
And
can get
then,
into that.
yeah,
Seems how that's what we're here for.
yeah. Today is a little more random, I guess.
We were completely unprepared. I mean, the newsletter went out a little late because there was a show that some people were gone to, so it went out, like a week late, which was yesterday. um, and the webinar happened to be kind of early this month too, so both those things is why we're kind of scrunching things together here.
Yeah. We do have another question. What is the procedure for locating an unknown DCC locomotive address?
Is that on a central station or a mobile station? And
Are they
um,
different? I thought they were the
not that
same.
it really matters. The addresses, searching for an address, it doesn't always work. It has to be on the programming track for the central station, and it it works best with Marklin decoders. Um, what you can do, I believe, is you can get into on the programming track, the locomotive on the programming track, you can get into the CVs and change CV1 to whatever you want, which is the address of that locomotive. It'll program it to it. I believe that will work.
I
You could
believe
always
well,
try CV number 8 with a value of 8 and write it to the decoder. And that should set it back to the factory default settings, which the address would be 3.
or are you referring to the Marklin decoders?
No, I'm referring to, well, yes and no. I mean,
But
DCC mostly, but um, I believe both of those would work.
I think the
with
main
a
thing that you
Marklin
need to
decoder.
do, first of all, is you do need to sort of create a locomotive so that it has, so for instance, you need to add a locomotive, and at this point, you can just make sure it's set for DCC type. I think at this point, the address is, obviously, it doesn't matter because you don't know what the address is to begin with. But you do need to have sort of a sort of container that the locomotive can read from. So obviously, you're just setting on one up that you'll edit these informations, like changing the name later. And then once it's in, then I believe you may have the possibility of looking for a number. But like Rick says, it's not really.
Well, you have to enter it, so you'd have to do that. You'd have to click OK and then get back into it,
Yeah,
and it would load.
you have to create the device
Hmm.
right here. So now it's in your inventory.
Exactly.
And then once you're in here, then you can go through the process of checking your edit locomotive,
Yes.
right?
And see,
And then
now
now
you
you
can
actually
see
have
the
the
read.
read function. So now you can try reading the address based on the programming track.
Yeah. Usually what I see is that it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong, if I'm doing anything wrong, but that's my luck.
But this is also the other way. Once you have this container set up, then you can also, do what you can. Maybe check to see if you can read the CVs. Obviously, I can't because I'm not connected to any track right now.
No, it's just you're in stop.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not connected to any track anyways.
Well, no, go ahead and do it though. It gives you that blank template.
Okay, okay, okay.
And so right now, if you change the values there in that, you see the arrow at the top, upper right. It's writing to the
All
decoder.
right. So, yeah, so
It
you can
wants to
rewrite
write
the
one
address.
there.
So what you're saying is basically if you want, you can rewrite the address if you don't know what it
I
is.
believe so. It's
But if
one
you don't
way,
want to
something to
do that,
try
I
at
mean,
least.
it's worth taking a chance to see if it will read
Yes.
the address.
Yes.
Is in regards to the programming track, do you have to isolate it? Yes, I would say you would. Either via switch or on a separate track. It's just a little more dummy proof at that point. For instance, I have a programming track on my main track, but I can switch it. So, and both the rails are isolated. I'm not 100% sure if I isolated the outer rails, but definitely the inside rail. So, okay.
And as far as Peter in Denmark, yeah, CB1, CVs are standardized for, all the manufacturers of decoders. And CV1 is always the address of the locomotive.
And then we had the question as well. If you're trying to read an unknown decoder, should the loco be on the programming track, not on the main track? In most cases, I would say yes, since you don't know which type of decoder. It could either be programmed for DCC or it might have the M4 protocol in it. If it does have an M4 protocol, which is basically MFX, you'd know right off the bat, because if you put it on the track and it didn't detect it, then you'd probably safe to assume it's not an MFX type decoder. So then you would use a programming track to load it. And then you would have two procedures. You'd have to load one up under DCC or load one up under Marklin Motorola. And that was basically when you click on the plus here. Because once you create this container like I did here, you cannot edit and change this to the other decoder type. So basically I have one here, DCC, and now I have the other one for Marklin Motorola. And you'd only have to do this if, the MFX does not read automatically. Because, this is, if you set it for DCC and it can't find the address, then you'd probably want to delete this one and then try under Marklin Motorola to see if it reads under that protocol. If that fails, then you got those options of just kind of rewriting the address within that decoder, or your other avenue is like, is the actual decoder actually functioning properly? Which, it's not saying it's not working. We've had instances where it wouldn't read, but the decoder was kind of responding to some degree. So,
I've had
okay.
it where it searches for a Marklin decoder and it comes up as DCC address 0, and it's just a read error, because basically it's not 100% foolproof. I consider myself lucky if it works.
Okay, a couple more questions here. Question: Mobile Station 2, is it possible to reorganize the looks according to steam, electric, diesel?
No, you have to enter them in that order.
Is that right? I didn't know that. Yeah, I wasn't sure. It's been so long since I actually looked at the mobile station. Everything I do is either on the CS.
Yeah, and you can't really you can't move your locomotives around in the slots is what he's talking about. And it doesn't sort. Um,
Yeah,
they're just in your library in the order they were put in there.
yeah. Sorting it's one of those weird kind of beasts on there. So it's kind of like, what did we find? I found out the other day. Actually, it was a couple months ago that one of our webinars, like you have. Let me go back to sharing my screen here. Okay, so you have the ability to sort, by name, history, max speed, address. And then what it was, I found another sorting function here. This one here under the icon. I can just have it show locomotives that actually that are in motion. In other words, you've given them a speed setting. And so, like, now you can see it's blank, but if I had, let's go, now I got to go back to the default because I changed it out. So let's show all, or let's turn that off. So let's pull, for example, let's pull this out to the left. And pull this one out to the right. And we'll give it a speed setting. Okay. And then you can actually display locomotives. So in motion, it should just display 2 because they have speed settings. And then if you just want to see the ones that are not set, and they're standing, there's no speed. So that's the only way. That was kind of a cool feature I found afterwards, that you'd hopefully have it setting, because even if I set by history, I think there were times where I'd set it by history and I couldn't figure out what history they were talking about, either the history of when it was last controlled, or is it a load history? It was just kind of random. So I couldn't quite sort that out. Or
Probably the last in order of when it was used.
yeah, yeah, and that's great because, even though I've had locomotives and they were running, obviously I don't have many in this demo, but it's just like, well, why doesn't this one display? But this icon, this feature here under the locomotive showing all, you can't, and this is to the question of, can you sort out by electric, diesel, or steam? I didn't know if the mobile station had this feature, but obviously it's available here on the
Yeah.
CS3.
No, they don't. The
So
mobile station doesn't.
yeah, so okay, so this is a question that I don't know. I think we're gonna
That's
have to use
regarding
both
the
our
article.
brains here. Uh, Article is interesting. Can you please explain a little more aux output condition to the negative neg level? What
Yeah.
is neg level really do?
Yeah, you know what? I've never figured that out. I just tried it and it did what I wanted it to do here. Um, After rereading my article, it makes me want to go back and look and see if making that um, a standard positive level did what I wanted. I don't know if I stumbled across this as the answer or if I stumbled across the answer and thought this was the answer. Um, and unfortunately, this was, you know, 2.5 months ago when I wrote this article. So
Is that
they're talking about the conditions in the for a decoder. You and I had talked about it before. There's positive edge and negative edge,
yeah.
and positive level and negative level. And I've never heard or seen any explanation of what those mean.
Okay, if that is exactly what they were talking about, I can kind of explain that. Um, and I'm just trying to think of what's a good way to actually explain this, because
Yeah, I know you
obviously,
and I had talked about it, and that's what kind of made me think to try it.
okay, so let me do up a, let's see if I can use one of the draw programs, because then I can might be able to explain that. Again, I think I'm a little bit out of context because I'm not 100% sure of the area of
Well,
your
if you
article.
want to take a minute and read my article.
No, I don't. Even if I'm the smarter one here, and reading your article confuses me. So, all right, let me get it.
I'm
I need
actually
it.
going to go put that locomotive on the layout so I can access it through my
Yeah, let me find a
CS3
draw
here.
program here. So while we do this, let me see. All right, well, I guess I got to use my default. Just going to use a simple draw program or a complex draw programming. Um, oh, actually, wait, can I do notations here? Annotate the screen. So I'm working in weird, mysterious ways. So let's see, I need a new document first of all. New present, oh, this will work. All right, well, my software boots up. I'll try to explain it verbally first. So essentially, we have you either have the way functions work, you can say that they're off if there's no voltage to it, right? That makes sense. And then we have a function that's on, so there's voltage to it. Okay, so it's either a zero voltage or a high voltage level. Now, what an edge voltage does is there's that millisecond change where it goes from zero. It's like a car going from 0 to 60, right? So that's when voltage is rising, and that's what we call a positive. What am I calling it? An edge voltage. Okay, so it's an edge trigger. That's when the voltage is going from 0 to 5 volts, let's say. Then we have what we call a falling edge trigger because it's sustaining at 5 volts. What happens is then there's that millisecond or whatever where it's actually dropping from 5 to 0. So the way functions work, especially the triggers on the events, is this actually reading that rising or falling edge. And that actually now, as opposed to just thinking about it's on or off, we now have four conditions. We can read something that there's nothing happening. There's something that's always on, like track occupancy. But when a train makes contact, there's that momentary spike, which is a rising edge, and that we use as a trigger. But then we can also use something that when that train leaves that track, the voltage drops, and that's a falling edge trigger, in which case we might consider that as a negative edge trigger. And so that's, the verbal explanation. So hopefully that made sense to some folks. So, okay. I think that's done. What do you got?
Um, well, while I was putting the locomotive on the track, I did grab the mobile station.
We're really flying by the seat of our pants
Oh,
today.
we are. We're totally phoning it in today.
All right.
MS2. So the MS2 version that I updated and is plugged into my central station right now is 5.3.
5.3 on the mobile station.
Yeah.
Good. Rick, it says you're trying to answer the question, but it won't let me to delete it unless I type in an
Oh,
answer.
did I not? Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks. All right. Well, you don't have my phone here. What else we got? I think that's basically so far. So questions.
Yeah, you
Feel
know what? I
free
think
to.
that's it. Goodbye, everybody.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Cut
Yeah.
this
Feel free
caption
to
short.
type in any other questions you have. I think we can probably get our naps in now for
Yeah,
listening
no
to our
kidding.
articles.
No kidding. I think we both can use one. We're totally dysfunctional right now.
I did see some comments that people liked your article, so let's get into it, shall we?
Okay. I'm just getting Windows sorted out so I can do that. And my article is right here. Okay, you'll notice right from the get-go we have this correct. So just to let you people know, you don't have to proof our stuff. We're perfectly capable of screwing it up without you. Okay, so I wanted to, I got the wild idea to do a Telex retrofit on a locomotive. And I did have a locomotive picked out, but it turns out that it does not have couplers that are conducive to a pocket. There's no pocket coupler. Um, so I settled on this, I believe it's a Class 81, which I've always kind of liked these locomotives, and it's nice and short and small, and that was kind of my criteria. It had to be a short locomotive. You're not going to use a tender locomotive for switching. Um, it had to have NEM pockets, so I could switch the coupler out with the Telex couplers. And let's see, what was the other criteria? I had three of them. Um, yeah, I don't remember what the third one was right off the top of my head. This locomotive I had converted a long time ago, and you can see that I put in a 60760 chip in it. I think I put the wrong number. Yeah, I put 60906. It's a 60760 decoder in it. And so there it is. It fits underneath this circuit board. This is the original circuit board. It was a Delta locomotive. But this circuit board holds the lights. And when I did this decoder, I didn't want to, cut the circuit board or mount my own lights. It's this front one that's really kind of a pain. The back one would be fairly easy to retrofit, but the front one would be kind of a pain to retrofit. So all I did was cut the traces and solder the wires for the lights to the traces. Pretty simple and easy, and there's a huge amount of room underneath this for a flat decoder. So that's basically why I chose this locomotive. Is I needed to have a decoder in here that would have more than one function, and the 760 decoder only has one function. So I couldn't put a normal 60972 decoder in here because it takes a mounting board. It's a 21 pin. It takes a mounting board like you've seen me use in other decoder or other locomotives. Um, so I went the wired version, and the drawback to the wired version is in the programming. You can program it just the same as any other decoder. It's not that hard, but it has to be wired into the circuit board for the sorry, let me unshare. The wires have to be in the circuit board for the programmer. They have to be in this green port, and the two wires go in each. And so, actually, sorry, two go in the top one wire in each of the other three. Um, and I knew this was going to take a lot of editing, so it was going to be kind of a pain. I tried to program it before I put the locomotive or put the decoder in the locomotive, but unfortunately, I was uh, not able to program it 100%, and I had to go in and edit it. Where it gets into, I can, once I got the decoder in and the basic parameters set, I knew editing would be just editing the function outputs. And so I knew that wouldn't be a big deal to edit the function outputs on the CS3. So I went with this decoder. It worked out fine. It's nice and flat and small, and the wires are all underneath, tucked in. You can't see it. I had to modify the locomotive a little bit, and you'll see in this picture here, the figure 5, that I did cut the corners of this front plate where the headlights are, and just a little bit off the back. This is not seen once you get the body on there, and the wires in here, you can see I have a gray wire. It looks like 2 gray wires, but it's actually looped in so I can have a little bit of room for the
Can
Telex
you zoom
coupler.
in on that photo?
Yeah, it actually loops around. It goes down and then back up and around the back, and you'll see the black wire just goes around the back, but it loops around too. I just wanted a little bit of slack so the coupler could pivot. So that's basically the reason for that. Once I had the Telex couplers in there, I could activate them with a function. That was no problem at all. Um, I set the period to be 100, which is 5 seconds. That way the Telex coupler would turn off after 5 seconds. Now the problem is the function icon on the central station, it would stop because it was a momentary, the light would go out right after I let go. And I didn't want that. I wanted the light to stay on, so I didn't question whether it was on or not. I wanted the function icon to be lit up for a few seconds and then go out. And that's where I found, I believe, the negative level is what actually did that. I could be wrong on that. I think I'm going to go back and look at this and do a little bit of programming and double check all this. But I did get it to work the way I wanted using that negative level. It basically, the telex comes on for 5 seconds, it turns off, and the icon turns off after a second or two. I forget how long. Um, which lets me move my finger long enough to see that the icon's on. It did activate, and it did deactivate. Now, you can't really see the telex coupler activating because in the telex coupler, um, if I zoom in on this picture, you'll see that it has this little tiny circle right here. And that's actually the pin where the telex coupler disengages the hook. And the only time you can know that the telex coupler is working is if that pin is popped up. So because that pin is so small, you're not going to see it on your layout unless you're staring right at it and it's right in front of you. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted the light to basically confirm that I've done it, and I only have 5 seconds to move the locomotive, so that I figured that would give me enough time to verify that it worked and that the light stayed on long enough, and I could move the telex coupler or the locomotive so the telex coupler would disengage. And you know, the whole thing worked out great, and it works wonderfully now. Now, what I didn't program was the coupler dance, which I would have to do a lot more research. I know there was an article in the Insider magazine for the coupler dance, and you can program how to do that. But I chose not to do that here because I kind of want to do it manually for
Can
one.
you explain what that dance is?
Well, yeah, it is actually really neat. What happens is the the locomotive, you have a locomotive and a car hooked together. and you press the icon for the Telex coupler, the locomotive will move back, disengage or engage the Telex coupler or disengage, whichever way you want to see it, and then move forward a little bit. Just creep, and then it's
Right.
done. So that's the coupler dance.
Now, is that something that I'm just wondering, is that something that's inclusive in the decoder settings, or is that you mean by programming an event to do that?
You program the decoder to do that.
Okay.
And that was an article in one of the Insider magazines
Hmm.
on how to do that. So I don't know which one right now, but it is very interesting and it tells you how to do it. And it's when you get into all of the and one and two in the decoder programming, which I don't completely understand all of that.
Hmm.
And nobody's really been able to explain it to me.
Yeah, that's because it's weird because now you're trying to program some kind of a sequence into the decoder.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And so, part of having the model railroad is playing with it, and it's almost more fun to, uncouple, move the locomotive, and then drive off rather
Yeah.
than sit there, let it do its work, and then wait for it to finish and then drive off.
Yeah.
So,
So I actually do have a couple of questions regarding that, though. So you had that condition,
yeah.
and maybe you can show that on screen again. So
Um, Hang on one second here. I have the locomotive on the track.
yeah, but it was in your article, so we can look at that too. So my one of the questions I would have, because I haven't looked at it, obviously, is the what other options were there? And the thing is, it might actually change how I define the negative condition, because there's an instance, and it's a switching thing that normally we see kind of in some electronic stuff. Some circuits are meant to always be on by default. In some functions, some circuits are always meant to be off by default.
Hmm.
So maybe that condition, what it does is a switching condition reverses that. So
Yes.
I'm wondering if that might have something to do with that condition setting in that question we asked earlier, which auxiliary versus negative condition. A negative condition may apply if like the circuit's always on. Okay. Or in this
Right.
case,
And
is it always
it's like a
open?
light bulb. The light bulb is on all the time. And when you push the button and the icon lights up, the light bulb turns off.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So it reverses the functionality of that
Yes.
action.
I
So
think
that
that's
might
what
be
it
the
does.
case there.
That
Um,
that does sound very familiar in my troubleshooting of trying to figure that
yeah.
um, figure that telex out.
The other question I would have that I kind of ran into myself is the that pin. I think it's possible that it does can get like come into resistance where it doesn't freely move up, and which
Yes,
the
if there's
met
tension
tendency.
on the coupler, on the hook and the loop, that's why in the coupler dance, the locomotive moves back a little bit, so there's slack on
Yeah.
the coupler, on the hook and the loop, and then that pin will pop up and it'll move
Yeah,
away.
but I'm actually referring to that pin actually itself not moving, like if there was oil in it and it wouldn't move up, because it's a small little magnet thing, right?
Yes, exactly. And I would not oil it. That I would use graphite,
I think I sprayed to 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 clean it up. I sprayed it with electrical parts cleaner
electrical contact cleaner, yeah,
because
and
it
then
was
I
a
would I
sticky.
would use graphite after that.
Okay.
I've done that to so to say fix them that are have been sticky when I had, someone complaining about it.
Yeah. Cool.
So, all
Anything
right.
else? Is that it?
Unless there's any other questions or someone can enlighten us about the negative edge and negative, what is it? Positive edge, positive level.
Yeah. But or whether or not it was an always on condition that negative. It was basically the question about negative.
Yeah.
What was it? It was really on defining what. Where'd it go? Defining condition to negative level. That's what it was. So, all right.
So as you guys may gather, we don't get every single technical
Sometimes,
situation from the factory. We get instructions, and a lot of this stuff we have figured out on our own.
which usually takes the two of us. So
Yeah, and we yeah we do. We do get into sessions where we're talking through stuff and come up with a solution.
we solve some issues. Okay. So is it my turn?
Yeah, I could use a nap.
Yeah, I've heard that line before.
Stick with the classics, man.
Uh, how you how do you comment rumors about the CS4?
Hmm.
Gee, I don't know. I
How
don't
do
know how to
you
answer that
comment rumors
question.
about CS4? Well, that's easy. They don't tell us.
Yeah.
You know, we're not part of the development team. We don't even know if there's a CS4. We kind of speculate that there has to be at some point, or it might even turn into a different name. It might not even, who knows? Who knows what it's going to be called? Who knows? There has to be something next, but we don't have any information on it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's one of this that puts all of us in that weird position. Like it's like how many users did we have to listen to that were upset that they just bought the CS2 and then the CS3 got released?
Yeah, yeah. Again, we don't. Yeah, you're right, but we don't have any information on when it would be released or what it's going to be about or what the name is. It could be purple for all we know.
Okay, Richard, we're gonna hold off on your question because that'll come after, and we're not even gonna tell people what your question is,
Well, they
because
can
that,
read it.
yeah, well, we can, but I don't know if we want to go down that rabbit hole yet. So,
Not yet. That'll be a rabbit hole for, you know, what
and Rick, I do
Curtis
have your
usually takes
package.
about 45 minutes.
Yeah,
So
no,
I'm going to
it
set my
might actually,
alarm to wake
and
me
I
up.
it might actually be quicker today because I don't know how much explaining I'm gonna really do. All the hard, confusing stuff was last article. So, see, we got another question. Joe says, "Tell me about it. I bought my CS just 4 months before the CS3 was released." So he was one of the. But the CS2 does the job. Yes, he bought a CS2 4 months before the CS3 was released. Yeah, nice. Occasionally,
Well,
they make good slaves.
let's see. Are you shopping for a CS3 right now?
Yeah,
That might be an indicator.
yeah. All right. So let's get this out of the way here. I think hopefully we can do it quick. So at the last article, let me share my screen. I'm sure I lost a lot of folks because it was even was for me it was hard to explain. Let me get rid of this Windows. Close. At last article, we'd set up events for these two contacts here in the middle, and I created what we call trackers. Now, technically, they're not really trackers. What they're doing is they're just displaying placeholders for locomotion, which locomotive is where on the layout. And so let me just kind of preset. We have two conditions, and one is which locomotive is heading to station one. That's this one here on the left, and which locomotive is heading to station two. Since I have two locomotives, it's either going to, they're going to be opposite from each other. So if this one is set that loc one is heading to station one, this obviously needs to be loc two is heading to station two, right? And these get swapped when activated here at these two events. And they're just either going to be, you only have two aspects. They're either going to be completely reversed from each other, from whatever setting it is. It all depends on which locomotive is heading towards which station. Now the first event here is, now this is where we run into, let's open up my events here. And we're really just going to look at the shuttle events. Now I have some presets which were discussed in the last article. Those are basically locomotive commands. And you can see there's just 2 commands for each locomotive because we're dealing with 2 shuttles on one line. So it's a program just to stop each specific loc, or it's the program to change directions. You can add a delay and then setting the proper speed for the locomotive. Now these are all manual modes, so there's no direct trigger. These do not get activated by the track. So that's grouped so I can understand whenever I want to change locomotives, then I can just go here rather than having to look through a collection of events here. So this is what grouping is good for. And then I have just basic tracking icons. These are just repeats. So all it really does is if one is on, I want to make sure that I turn the other one on and turn this one off. And you can see it says here, Loc 2 Station 2, if it's showing as it's on, needs to be turned off. Loc 2 Station 2 is turned off. And I need to make sure I turn on the opposite one. So you can see there's 4. There may be some redundancy, but the thing is, it kind of helps if you have it in there, because then you're always kind of sure that you're covering all your bases. Now, the way the events work is, let me reopen the window, and it's obviously I'm running at a screen here. So let me go back to Shuttle 1 event. So essentially what happens is, now you kind of have to visualize this stuff. I have locomotives that are traveling to the endpoints and they haven't made it yet. So the first one, let's say it's going to Station 1 and it will be locomotive 2. So what I'm looking for now is I'm going to show you the events for this trigger, 2252. Or you can say it's the Station 1 entry point. So what I'm looking for here, and let me expand it down here. And we have Station 1, Loc 2 stop. We're actually looking for the trigger. And Station 1, Loc 2, let's see if I can find it here. Oh, okay, yeah, so essentially, so there's 2 events that can happen. So we're looking at events for Station 1. It's either going to be Loc 1, and let me go back here, or it's going to be Loc 2. Let's see if I got it here. Loc 2 stop. Sorry, I have to review this really quickly here, because I've got, you can easily get confused, obviously, you guys, you can see that. So let me open up, let's open up Station 1, Loc 1 stop. And that really is like the first one. So if it was Loc 1, this would be ignored. Or actually, let me close this up so you can actually see what's going on. See this icon here, this tracker says it's Loc 2 is heading to Station 1. So obviously this wouldn't hold true because Loc 1 to Station 1 doesn't match. And what happens is then this event would just stop. Nothing would happen, which is what we wanted to do. So now we got to actually look for the counterpart. And moving screens around, so slow on the PC. So what I'm looking to is I'm actually looking for Station 1 Loc 2 stop, because it's Loc 2 that we're looking for. Loc 1 doesn't apply, so let's close that one. Station 1 Loc 2 stop right here. So open it up. So this is what's going to happen here. Let's close this again. So when this becomes active, it triggers this action here. And because Loc 2 Station 1 to Station 1, move it over here, matches here, then it actually triggers this event, which was Loc 2 stop, which I showed you earlier. And just kind of show you here, we go here, and we'll look at shuttle Loc. It's actually going to trigger Loc 2 stop here, this one. And let me kind of actually go back again because there's an easy way to display this stuff. So we're going to go loc to stop, open that one up. And we actually are now, because this is true, we're going to actually be able to open this event here. And this event is the one that is on that other window. And what it does, it's just really, now you see how this is manual mode. What I said before, the locomotive are not triggered. It's triggered by this event. So this event here are these two steps. It just tells this locomotive to go to 0. Now, remember, this is going to be our first locomotive that reaches the endpoint. This one still, the train has not arrived. So 2755 is not going to show as yellow. So at this point, this whole event just stops after doing this command here in blue. Okay, so now you really kind of have to think linear. And now we're going to actually go to when Loc 1 enters Station 2. So we'll go back to our events. And now we're going to Station 2 Loc 1. That's this one here. Close that. So this one is already here, and it stopped because the previous event made it stop. Now this one here is taking this Loc 1 to Station 2. That's triggered by 2755 right here. So when this gets to this point, then the locomotive will stop. And now if it reads what's the status of 2252 over here, Station 1, it says that it's yellow or it's on. And then that allows it to proceed and finish with the rest of this event, which is a timing delay. And it also triggers Locs go, because there's another nested event. If I hold this down, you can see the two events that I showed you based on the locomotives. Loc 1 will reverse itself and go, and Loc 2 will reverse itself and go. And these are identical. So if I hold one down, you can see that this is for the ET87. It just reverses direction here. There's a delay and it goes at one speed. If I didn't select that, like if I can hold this one down, you see this is now for the other locomotive. They're identical. They just have different speeds and different locomotive commands, right? And this is what we call nesting events. So when you see this icon here with the little routing thing, it means actually it's another event that I've dragged into this one event. So these are nested events. And that's basically what happens is now everything is complete. It reverses. And let me close this out, close out the event so you can kind of see what happens. Let's actually pull some locomotives in here and you may be able to see it. So I had a 610 locomotive and I had the ET87. So let's put the 87 here. And we'll put the 610 here. Okay, now these are both showing that there's locomotive speed. That's basically because these events, even though I'm not connected to track, they're still running on software. So these are heading to the opposite directions. So if I turn this off, it basically indicates that the trains have left the endpoints and they're now working their way towards the middle station. So it doesn't matter which one it is because this was all programmed in the last article. You have one train that shows up. It's not going to drop speed to 0 because on these stations, we actually have a braking module that slows the train down. So I don't have to do any extensive programming there. But once the other train arrives and they both show that they're in the middle station, there is, from the last article, now it's programmed to start to activate these signal lights. Now, obviously, it's not going to happen because I actually had my CS3 in stop mode, and it won't. It's just like you can't turn signals. Nothing is going to happen. So essentially, what happens is once the trains are here, it activates these signals to green, and your trains will actually change. You notice how it just changed the icons out here, changed the destination for those trains. And all this stuff was that really confusing article 2 months ago about how to program this. So you
So
may have to go back and forth between the two articles if you really want to sort this out. I probably could have explained the last article a little easier, but it was kind of complex and overwhelming. This was much easier. This is basically all we covered in this article. At the end of the day, the issue for the user was, well, I want to change the locomotives. How do I set that up? And you can actually put little text instructions on your layout screen. You can see here that I wrote some instructions, and I can zoom in if they're hard to see, but it basically says to change shuttle logs, you go into the events under the shuttle logs group. So let me show you how I do that. We click on events. I'll go to the group where I've assigned it. I love that logging thing. If you hold your mouse button too long, it opens that up. And we'll go to shuttle logs. And if you're just going to change one locomotive, you just have to figure out whether or not you're going to change which one is either loc 1 or 2. And if I wanted to change 2, obviously we got to go into edit mode. Let's go change the stop. You just simply have to open up the event and you go click on the locomotive, and this is everything that's in your inventory on your CS2 or CS3. And you can just simply change the locomotive there. Once you do it on stop, remember we're in the stop event, you need to also change it in the reverse and go event. Okay, so you need to change this in 2 areas. This is why it's good to have them grouped, because you know where to go. You would run it. If you need to change the delay, you just click on that and you can just change your timing delay. And then once you run it, you maybe these default speeds are not appropriate for the locomotive that you're replacing it. So just kind of tweak this afterwards. You just want to see it in action first, and then you can change that out. So this is the first thing you change according to the instructions. Don't delete the log from your inventory, especially if you have the shuttle. The reason why is that it's going to delete the event itself. And if you don't know how to reset this up, then it's probably always good to make sure that there's a locomotive that's in your inventory in the shuttle setup. That way you don't have to try to rewrite or recreate that event. So that's the first thing you do. Now, if you actually ever want to set this up for running, the instructions here: set the logs at the midway point between the depot stations. So in other words, don't set your locomotives here in the middle. Set them up here between these contact areas, this one and this one. So you want it here either in this tunneled area or wherever you have access. They just can't be touching these contacts. And then you'd set another one up here. And what you're going to do is then you're going to make sure that the trackers match the direction they're heading. So in other words, the locomotive here, you always set that up and you want it to go to station 1. You just have to choose, select, make sure you set it for, is it loc 1 or loc 2 that's heading in that direction. And this basically primes the system. So once you have them set, you just set your locomotives to speed, and it doesn't matter what it is, because once it reaches the end, then the programming kicks in and it will adjust the speeds for you. And that's basically it.
you are so getting phone calls about how to change locomotives on this guy's layout.
Yeah, I got a lot of calls. And even then with the instructions, I still had to go through the explanation with them. So hopefully, I know that was quick. I know there wasn't really a whole lot of like in-depth detail, but a lot of it was covered in the last newsletter. And I welcome any questions regarding that, because I know it can be overwhelming to do something kind of complex like that. It's basically programming. Okay, we do have a question on YouTube. Is there a possible to configure the a central station via PC interface? Yes. I would say yes, right?
What was the question again? Is it possible to?
Yeah. He wants to know if he can program or configure any CS3 values. You can on the CS3, CS2. I would say no.
Yeah, not the CS2. The CS3 you can.
Yeah. At first, when you boot up your CS3 and you're connected to the network, and I'm going to go through the process here, you need to first access it through the browser. In which case, let me go to this. And it would basically look like that, right? You're sharing your data. And I guess, let me refresh the page. Okay. So this basically this is an operational method. You cannot configure the CS3 from the browser. It just really won't work. This, again, like I said, it's for operational purposes. It's great that you have it because you can control your trains and all your switches, and you can have multiple windows up with different areas of your layout. But if you really want to do configurations in the CS3, like the edit screens, you basically have to open up the system, click on CS3, and what you're going to do is you're going to go down to
Nope, screen server.
yeah, they added these categories and I always kind of forget them. You need to go to screen server. And if you haven't done so, you need to use this Real VNC viewer. Don't go to Real VNC. Use this viewer because it will download.
Use that link.
Yeah, use that link. And you're going to start the screen server. And it uses the same IP address that you did in the browser. And that's up at the very top. You can see and this is a local number that your router gives your CS3. It's not going to be the same as mine. So yeah, don't worry about security there. So once you have it, then you can basically, like, we don't need this because my servers are already on. And then what you're going to do is you're going to use the VNC viewer, and the first screen you'll see is this one here. It could be blank here.
You're not showing.
Actually, let me share that right screen. Sorry, thanks. Let's see. So this
This
might
is kind
be
of technical support you get, folks.
yeah, moving too fast for my brain. You won't have these icons here the very first time you do it, so you do need to type in the IP address up here. Once you access it, then it actually has an instance down here. So this will live here as long as you want them. You can easily delete them, like, just right click, delete. It removes it from this panel. But this is quick access. Once you click here, then this window lives in the background, and then it will go to, it's weird how it wants to share screen. Then it will go to this screen, which is basically the same screen on your CS3. And you can kind of tell how the text is lined up here nicely because it's a CS3, but on the browser window, it kind of got garbled. And this is where you can actually access all your basically functions, your edit mode. See, I can get into edit mode here.
You're not showing that.
Oh, is it not sharing? Oh, I thought I did. Am I not sharing the right window? Oh, here it is, sorry. Yeah, so now you have, basically you can access your events, or you can basically access any edit screen that you need to on the CS3. So you have access to your configurations. And now there is a little bit of a lag or latency, right? So every once in a while, it takes time. But, I can go in here, can open this up, open up a locomotive. Now I can't really edit a locomotive since I don't have his collection of locomotives, but you can go into edit locomotives. If you crack one open, you'll have access to the configuration setup. Configuration won't work because I don't really have a locomotive, I don't think. It will show this. This is just the default screen. But if you had the locomotive, it will read from the decoder and populate this hopefully correctly. It gets a little weird with the DCC stuff, I think, as I recall.
It just basically gets that blank shell there, and um, you basically have to write in the CV number you want
Yeah,
to edit, and it's
yeah, I believe so.
we don't
Let's
need
see.
to get into that right now. It's
Let's see.
MFX is so much easier.
Well, yeah, but this is people have different collections. We can't stop them. Yeah, if you go into here and you don't see a CV value, you can actually click in and enter in a CV that you want to enter. And I
And then
believe,
it'll go and read it and give you a value,
yeah,
but the locomotive has to be on the track,
yeah, or a programming track. So,
programming track, yes.
yeah. So yeah, this is how you can actually access edit screens on your PC or through your PC. The CS2, no, they changed the CS2. I mean, even for a while, you were actually able to see the CS2 screen, but then I think the resolution was part of the issue, but they changed it, and you can no longer do that with the CS2. You can basically just, like, for our purposes, all I can take is a screenshot. I can't do any of the live activation that I show you on the CS3. Configuring on a CS2 through the PC. I think there's yeah, I'm just gonna say no, because
Yeah.
there's a way where you can actually
As of right
download a
now, we don't
config file.
remember.
Yeah, yeah. There was a way where you can actually see the configurations in a Series 2, but I think it was in a file format that's really not user friendly, and we don't want to be responsible for any damages you make there. Yeah, yeah. The CS2 is one of those. It's one of those blocks. We're talking about something that was it's what 9 years. It's about as old as our time on doing articles.
The CS3 is, it came in a couple,
We did two articles.
4 months or
I
so
think
after
I
it
think on the
started.
second newsletter article, we were
Yeah,
already
six
starting to talk
months,
about the CS3.
something like that.
Yeah. So
So,
yeah, that was ages ago. So all right, that's the article. Um,
any
any
questions?
questions while we're here?
Anyone need a wake up call?
All right. Now, should we go on to the unnamed section? We didn't know what to call it.
Well, quickly, I got a couple of things for the look what I got.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, but they aren't train things. Have you even received any new trains since our last webinar?
No, I haven't received nothing.
I haven't either. I know there are a couple of things here, but my number hasn't come up. We don't get the first ones, contrary to popular belief. But honestly, I don't remember if I've showed you any of this stuff. We have the globe behind me, which I think I told you about that. And
Yeah, you didn't tell me that.
that's what I picked up probably about 3 or 4 months ago, um, at an auction. I picked that up. I got it for a great price. I love the advertising stuff from Marklin. I mean, as you can see, I have, one of the old brochures up here. I have other stuff, and up above my window, I got the new catalog is here thing. I like the advertising stuff. And so I've been collecting that slowly. But one thing I did get, I have to share my screen here, and I don't know if I've showed you, Curtis, um the finished product there. Can you see
Uh,
the
that's the one. Wait, you showed that to me when you were out here, right? The
no, I got it when I was out there. Walter had brought it back from Germany for me.
uh,
And this is a German, obviously, turnout lantern. Okay. And I gave it a quick coat of paint. It's got the original glass except for one panel on the other side. but this is now my post light um, for my how do you go to a different share window?
Yeah, yeah, it's weird. You just have to share and then select another window, right? The green one. Uh, does that rotate the light?
No, it doesn't. Um, I didn't make it so it rotated, but it took me a while to get all the pieces together because I had to kind of make it. This is an aluminum uh 4x4 aluminum tubing at the bottom. It's a post, a 4x4 fence, not a deck post that it's mounted to, and it's all bolted together nice and solid. Um,
Is that address 1905? I live in Hell Lane.
I did stencil my address on it, so here I have another picture of it lit up. Obviously, it's a little blown out because it was twilight, and
Looks great. That looks awesome.
it does look awesome at night. It makes me chuckle every time I pull up to the house, especially when it's on. And I have one more picture.
You got our short day months coming in.
Yeah, there. And so with this one, you can see my
Great.
store light that's in
Yeah,
my
everyone's got
garage.
that.
I'm sorry, store sign that's in my garage. Um, Please excuse the garbage can. I didn't know this was
Well, I'm
actually.
glad you blocked your license plate.
Yeah, yeah, that's not the car I drive. So, yeah, I like the advertising stuff.
Cool.
And so that was the latest.
That's very funny.
You see, you see the comment from Rick there in the questions and answers.
Yeah. Ready
Yeah,
for a baseball
you
bat?
try it, buddy. I know where there's a layout and a hammer.
Yeah,
Okay,
Rick, just to let me know, I'll give you his address.
it's right on the sign. It's right on the post. So that was my like 2 month project.
That looks great. So,
Um, yeah, so what we had decided, actually at the last one, Curtis mentioned we should show some of the rare items we have. Obviously the advertising stuff is kind of rare stuff, but it's kind of a specialty collector thing where Curtis and I have a couple of rare items to show if you want to get into that.
yeah, the segment was we didn't know what to say. Rarities, seldom uh, seen,
Seldom seen, maybe, a little bit
and
harder to find
or
nowadays.
they've been buried so deep I forgot I had this.
Yeah, basically, yeah, they're at the bottom of the pile.
Yeah,
I'm still looking for some. I've been looking for probably a month and a half now for this stuff because the globe literally, like I said, I got it 3, 4 months ago,
yeah.
but I put it in my garage. It was back there underneath the sign and I couldn't get to it. So once I finally got to it, I could bring it here and set it up. So
Needs some giant gumballs in there.
yeah, it is. It's a big piece, but I do like it. And my rare piece, that's what's on it right there, is a transparent ICE3. So if you guys are familiar with the transparent bodied locomotives that
Wait, when
Marklin
did
has
you
come
get
out
that?
with,
Was that part of the globe or did you find it
no,
somewhere else?
no, I've had that for a while.
Oh, the
Um,
ICE3. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the transparent stuff is cool. I only have a couple of those. I wish I had the set that you got. That would have been awesome.
yeah, I'll show those at a
Well, I'll
later
show
date.
you. I'll kind of go through these. I managed to have this one here. Pop the lid open. Now, you probably already have these. Probably say something like, yeah, I got two. Here's the clear.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Switch
that
it.
one I have three of. Actually, that's those are the ones that I'm looking for. I have them, but they're at the bottom of the pile somewhere.
Yeah. There's the other clear one.
Yep. That's the 219 or 218 diesels, I
Right.
believe.
Need to put some LEDs in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Maybe
gonna
some,
do to mine.
maybe some ghost people. So those are a couple items. Those are the only. Those I think those are the only transparent ones I have. So um, yeah, I think yours are even rarer than that. I mean, I know these are
Yeah.
for sale.
Should I go ahead and show them?
If you want to, if you're up for it.
So what these are, from what I gather, are the prototypes to the one you just showed. Your show your 218 again.
That would be that one there in the box.
Yeah. All right, take it out of the box. Come on. Give give the people a thrill.
The things I do to boost your ego. There you go. Out of the box.
There
We'll,
you
we'll
go.
do a
There.
quick.
And this was a really neat thing they did. It was a training. So you could see inside the locomotive, and that's what they called it, was training. Does that has windows and everything, right?
Yeah, it does.
Does it have the light bar in it and everything?
Doesn't have the light bar. In the front it does, yes.
Okay.
They're
All
hard
right.
to see, obviously. It's a little.
So I have that locomotive also somewhere. I can't find it right now. But when they were developing that clear product line, so to say, for of those two locomotives, they did test runs, and they did test runs in different colors. Okay. So a yellow, a blue, I'm sorry, a yellow, a red, I don't know my colors, a blue, and a green. And these are the same ones that Curtis just had, but these are in transparent colors. And so these were basically the test run. There are no windows. They were only bodies, and the chassis were added to the bodies, is what they were. Um,
Oh, so yeah, you just had the bodies, and you found
no,
you got
I
four
got them
chassis.
complete like this,
All right.
but the person before me actually added the chassis.
Wasn't
This,
that I thought you got this from Tom's
yeah,
collect.
these are from Tom. And so these are, really nice little collector's items, and they're really beautiful. And there's a C80 decoder in these, and the AC motor, and no light bars, no windows. They were just test models of the body, so they didn't finish them out. And I don't think I'll finish them, but I think I will upgrade them to MFX with a 5-pole motor, and, like Curtis said, put some LEDs in them. I'll probably put red ones in the red one and blue ones in the blue one, and so forth. That way they kind of shine really nice. I don't know what I'll do about a diffuser, if I will. I haven't I haven't looked that far into it.
Yeah,
So
we're a little bit blasphemous when it comes to that. We'll just
yeah, and Curtis, you're the one that actually kind of convinced me. It took me years to figure out that, let's see, how do I phrase this? You weren't entirely incorrect. Um, that because those were bodies and they were put on chassis, I can basically do anything I want with them. It's not really hurting any value. The
oh,
value
that's
is
true.
in the body, not the chassis.
Yes, yes, yes. I would probably.
So I might as well add my mark to the lineage there and convert them.
Yeah, so we do have a question here. What year was the transparent logs sold? The colored ones were never sold, right?
Yeah, these color ones were
Clarify
never
that.
sold. They were, um, for lack of a better term, smuggled out of the factory.
And I don't really know. I don't have a dating on when these were released.
They
You
were
got some?
30, what was the number on them? 35?
3774 for this one.
See
Yeah,
if I can.
3772, 3774. So there was a series, I guess. There's got to be a three in here somewhere.
No, I don't think there's only those two
Oh,
locomotives.
really?
Yeah.
They were
And they
digital.
weren't really released to dealers. They were only, I forget what the story was on those. Um, one of them was part of the training. I think it was all part of the training, to learn how to use the digital.
Mm.
Um,
Before Richard takes off, he might be gone already. Did he leave?
digital system demonstration. Yeah. 85 to 89 were those two. 772, 774. There was no 773.
Okay, so yeah, well, hopefully you can find one.
One thing I do have, and I have them, you can see up here, these right here. These are the old style Marklin price tags.
Yeah, I got a set of those.
Yeah, you actually got this a set. It took me about 4 or 5 years to find a set of these after you
Yeah.
called dibs and took the first ones and wouldn't give them to me. Um,
Well, I was so envious of all the other stuff you snagged before I did. You never follow this guy around in a show because he'll just get right in front of you. He'll literally knock you out of the way.
I do what I have to, man.
And he's got quick eyes, so he knows what he's looking for.
So I have several of these in the display case here. I have this price on these locomotives, even though they are not for sale. And
Did you
every
actually put
time,
prices in there?
pardon me.
Did you actually put prices in there?
Yeah, yeah, 49.95.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah.
funny.
And I had these actually in this display case at my apartment in there um, when I lived in the Bay Area close to Curtis. And every time, let's just say the person, Andreas, would come by, which is the layout that Curtis has been doing his articles on, he'd look at those because he wanted them real bad. He'd look at those and look at the price and go, gosh,
Yeah, we like to hold things over people.
yeah, usually each other.
Yeah.
So one thing I do have going here, which I like to bring out. Oh, look at that. Look at that. There it is.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're article too early for that.
No, I usually bring it out for the last two webinars of the year, and if I remember.
Yeah.
And because we are getting ready for Milwaukee, I want to make sure I take it to Milwaukee. I'm going to pack it up and throw it in the show crate, and so I can't forget it at
Uh,
Milwaukee. So,
cool. Okay. Cool. Any other
so get ready
rarities?
for Christmas, people.
Yeah. Um. Do you want to do? You have the wooden one, right? Do you have that one for showing?
The what?
The wooden locomotive.
Oh no, that's yours. Show it.
Oh, yeah.
The
Um.
ones I
Well,
have
actually,
one.
Rick, there's more than one set. That's the thing, right? So, I mean, you guys may have seen this before, and I don't know exactly how rare we would say it is, but this is actually wooden slats, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
real wood on the side of that
Yeah, there's real wood
locomotive.
on the side. There's a
And
set.
those are really nice sets. There's that version. There's a snowed version of that locomotive only. There were passenger cars available for that locomotive separately, and then there was a set with a locomotive very similar to that and passenger cars.
Yeah, but there also a set. There was a set that had a steam locomotive, right?
And then there was actually two sets with the steam locomotive.
Yeah, it had the wooden cars, but the steam
They had the wooden
locomotive.
cars that were shorter, and there were two different numbers, 29703 and 704,
Yeah.
I think, something like that.
Um.
And I have
So
one of
yeah,
those two sets, but I didn't
I
need two.
actually had a few things. Yeah. So those are cool. I know you have more of the wooden stuff. Um. Now I do have. You have anything? Was that all
I'm
you were
I'm
gonna
I'm
do?
out.
You're out already? Okay, so we'll just kind of go through the stuff that I kind of pulled together. Now this is I got two things that I think I might not show that premix that I had earlier. But this here, and it was pretty funny. We kind of talked about this last article, and I figured, well, I'm going to show more of the collection. Now this was sort of something that Rick helped me find, and unfortunately got damaged in the mail. But we were basically talking about alpha locomotives.
Yeah.
And I kind of had to glue it together right now, and it looks terrible, but right now it needs some cleanup work, but it's cracked. But
That
this
is the rare alpha.
rare alpha. This is the my precious.
My precious. That's
My
the chrome
precious.
version.
Yeah, the chrome version, hard to find. Wish if anything, I'd probably have to take a red one and chrome it if I really wanted to. But right now, this is the display side. So that's one, but that's not it. Basically, that's kind of a premise. I wanted to show you guys some of the display cases that they were originally sold in.
Yeah.
And
You have one set of alpha that I don't have, and I haven't found it yet. It's like the restaurant one or something like that.
So there's that. We'll kind of pull them out here. So this one here is even still in its
Yeah.
I'll show you what that kind of does. And I think
Alpha was really, well, lack of a better term, strange, but the play value of it is phenomenal, and it kind of hooked both Curtis and myself. Is you have this whole set in a box that a kid could literally go over to grandma's house, set up his train, and play with it while he's visiting with, or his parents are visiting with grandma.
I'm not too sure.
You might have to pull those out and lift at the same time. There we go.
And so there was.
And that cover becomes a tunnel.
Yeah, now here's the tunnel.
So.
And there's a little drawer here.
For a turnout or a bumper?
This one has a turnout
and a bumper. There you go. Some of them had a, in fact, you're missing some curved track in there.
Yeah, probably.
Some
but
of them had,
the thing is,
transformers in them.
Yeah.
To power it. This would be like an auxiliary set.
No, this is the precursor to the C-Track. Now
these. That's like precursor to C. It's
these are code. These are steeper than the ones that we have now available. So
it's a different. The rail is a different code, and it has copper contacts on the end instead of stainless steel contacts.
Yeah. So that's that. So it's a very nice little kind of compact thing that locks. I'll take this one off with the handle so I get this one back.
Especially the one with the handle, I think the ones with the handles were the ones with the transformers.
So this is the handle, and this one actually, it actually has a tunnel too.
Yeah.
Right. Big huge box.
The Alpha Station was a bigger set.
Let's try to. So that comes up over the handle. A little housing unit.
Little scenery there, structure.
Yeah. There's one alpha train. Just a little rolling stock. Obviously, we have our drawers here. Let's see if I can slip the tunnel off and get the insert out. So you can see it's pretty. We have tunnel. I think there's original stickers.
Yes.
And this looks like it's a bridge ramp.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So you have that.
Inside is.
And you can see how it's definitely a darker C-track, and the angle on this is a little steeper. There's the copper end.
Yeah. And then you should have a transformer in there too, right?
In
on
here,
the other side, in the drawer.
No, just more track.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think that's when they. I think they still use the. They're using the blue transformer, aren't they?
Yeah, it would be the blue transformer.
Yeah.
The small blue one.
Click that back in. I think it's possible that there's something missing.
That's the up and down of the ramp.
Well, yeah, that's what it is, but there's so much
Oh,
space in here that maybe there's something
oh
missing.
yeah, I guess it's possible. Yeah.
So there's that possibility, anyways. Um, so that's that kit.
So yeah, we kind of got hooked on Alpha and then started playing with it, and we digitized ours and all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
that's
Put
what
extra lights in them.
I was telling Rick earlier. I think it was it yesterday we were talking about it because we did last article we showed that where we were out watching over one of the shops and we were doing the alpha races.
Oh, in the last news,
Yeah, the last
last
newsletter.
webinar.
Yeah, and at the beginning of this month, I saw on YouTube that I think it was somebody from the Miniature Wonderland group showed alpha trains. So thanks, guys. Thanks for showing that. So I figured I'd show more.
Yeah.
And the last kind of rarity that I had is now this. Now we've seen this, and I don't know how rare we'd consider it.
No, but I've always been kind of jealous that you got that set. That
This
is
is
a
the
nice set.
Rheingold set. Now there is a Rheingold tin, and this one, the one that normally sees is a 26750, I believe.
Yeah.
And the thing about this one, which is why I like it so much, and
That's the one with the Marklin logo on it, isn't it?
yeah, this is the one that Rick, why he's envious. Tilt it up so you can see it. Hopefully it won't fall out. Oops, so we got a little bit of glare.
It's a regular Rheingold set, but the locomotive says Marklin and it's got the
Marklin,
Marklin logo on the cab.
Yeah.
The other set, it was the regular Rheingold colors
Yeah.
and just said Rheingold on the tender, I believe.
Yeah, so this was a dealer release, I believe, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never got that set.
So just figured I'd show that. The funny thing about those engines, especially in this set, it's such a heavy set that a lot of times on inclines it slips. But yeah, there's the rainbow box.
Yeah, keep that box nice. I've seen so many of those boxes that are dinged and dented. You can't fix them.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think that's basically it. I did have this premix set, which may be hard to see because it's still in a sealed box, but it's a metallic red set.
Yeah, that's a nice. I think there was an extra car for that too.
Yeah. I think we found that. I think I snagged this at the last Eurowest as we had.
What, last year's?
No, this yeah, the
Oh,
one.
this one? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
we just completed. So yeah, new to me. Anyways,
Anyways,
covers a lot of it. Yeah, the Rheingold set, like it, alpha stuff. Rick's collection. Rick has the you have the yellow one.
I have the yellow, the German Post Alpha.
The
Yes.
yellow one. That's the one I don't have. And I
And
keep thinking in the back of my mind I saw another color of it, but it could have just been my
yeah,
imagination.
I think you're just typically wrong like you usually are.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, that about sums it up. Unless we can answer any more questions. If you guys have any comments that you want to make, feel free to raise your hand or ask.
No, you're
Ask
welcome,
away.
Maya. Hopefully, yeah, test out that theory of ours and email us, let us know what what you find. I can't believe that was something they would delete. It might be just a bug. It's
Are we
hard to
talking
say.
about the version?
The station announcements?
Oh yeah.
So
Station. Wait, did they have station announcements in the CS3?
you
just
can
thought-
add them to a route.
But I always thought they were just part of the locomotive itself.
No, you can add your own station announcements
Well, yeah.
to activate in an event script, but it's stored on the central station. the sounds. And so that's so that you have it connected to your central station to a amplified set of speakers and put it over by your layout. That way you hear the sounds from your out on your layout at the
Yeah,
station.
but essentially you'd still have to add the sounds into your central station.
Yes.
So unless they had some in from the beginning and it got wiped out during an update, I wouldn't really know. They shouldn't.
Yeah, either it's he lost it in his central station, or it's just not accessing the memory card in it that you insert in the back, the compact flash, I think it is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's all. Somewhere it's either lost that connection to it, or he was using it in the memory and it wiped it out.
Okay. So nothing new from the warehouse that you have to show.
No, we're so not ready for this webinar. I didn't grab any new items.
Okay.
We
Well,
did
we'll
just
save
get,
it. We'll save it for Christmas. That's
yeah.
all.
I mean, we
Yeah.
did just get some stuff, and it should be showing up at your dealers if you've ordered it. The Rio Grande caboose came in for the Rio Grande locomotive that my article was on last one, and I haven't got received mine yet. I think it was just some minor stuff, not a whole lot of, not a big order, not a big shipment of Marklin. We got a big shipment of LGB with starter sets, Christmas starter sets, and track for Christmas. But that's about it. So
Okay. We got
I
it.
was really hoping the what is it, Southern something, the new ES44 was going to be here.
Oh.
The
Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah.
Southern of Georgia, something of Georgia. I forget what it is.
I think that's the one.
That's when the
Is
last one
that the
we did
last
our,
set of audio that we did?
yes.
Maybe that's why we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
You're trying to say, how do we put this in a locomotive?
Yeah. Yeah. How do we politically correct this?
Yeah. Yeah. So we have I guess a comment. He couldn't get the speaker to work. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't remember what the settings are in the CS, or are you dealing with? He might be dealing with the CS2, CS2 or CS3. You do need to have a amplified speaker though. You can't really just plug a speaker into it. It won't work. There's not enough output. Um, so that's the only comment I can make on that right now. I don't think there were any volume controls at all
Not
through the
really, not
CS3.
much.
Yeah.
I did do an article on how to do that way back.
Yeah, we'll just have to reference that again one day.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think that's it then for us, folks. Unless you got anything else you want to add, we will. I would say if you guys celebrate Halloween or even, do we have something going on before? No, we got Thanksgiving. We might not see you guys, especially out here in
Yeah.
the
Well,
States. Enjoy whatever holidays you have coming to you until our next webinar.
our next webinar should be what is this? I guess it would be December 10th.
Should be. Let's see. Yeah, the 10th. So, yeah, today this was a short one because the first the first was on last week, so it kind of crept up on us. CS3 with the Sony amp speaker. Yeah, check your cabling too. Those little micro cables, 3.5, they can get a little finicky sometimes. We appreciate all you guys tuning in and not making too much fun of us.
And remember, if you want a corrected version of the last newsletter, if you're printing them out and keeping them, email us. We'll email you back the corrected version.
Yeah. Did you? Maybe we should post that too. And did you put that in our drive?
I'm going to. I just received it.
Okay.
I'm going to replace the one we have.
Okay, excellent. Anyways, cool. All right.
All right.
Again, it's been great having you guys. Hopefully you're entertained, if not informed, or vice versa. Okay. All right. We'll see you guys.
All right.
Take
Bye,
care,
everyone.
Hall. Yep. Let's see.